Welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Hello and welcome to the Skeptic Zone podcast, episode number 591 for the 9th of February 2020. Tonight, coming to you live from Sydney Skeptics in the Pub. Oh, you're so spontaneous. Thank you very much. On today's episode, we have a special report on homeopathy. Recently, when I was in the United States, I came across a free booklet from the Boiron Company, which is a major supplier of homeopathy in the United States. So a big report about that. Also coming up on this week's show, Maynard at Skeptics in the Pub asking the big question tonight, which is, Maynard?
Do you like my jacket, and can you guess the colour of my underpants?
There we go. Maynard's going to be asking people about what is the craziest food you've ever eaten? The strangest dish that you've eaten. Maynard will be doing that a bit later on.
Blowfish, the Japanese blowfish.
The Japanese, the blowfish, says Maynard. All that's coming up on this week's episode, but now it's time for me to run to the bar and have another drink. And while I'm doing that, I hope you at home enjoy this week's episode of The Skeptic Zone. Cheers.
One of the pleasures I get when visiting another country is to simply go shopping. I guess it's the appeal of the exotic. Yes, I know that in a supermarket in California I'm not going to find too much that is very different from what I might get in a supermarket in Sydney, Australia. Nevertheless, it is fun to buy products I normally cannot get at home. Root beer, anyone? Not too long ago, I found myself wandering the aisles of Whole Foods Market in Lafayette, California. It's sort of a supermarket for those who want to at least try to be more healthy, maybe more mindful of the planet and other fuzzy feelings. Nevertheless, I like the range of products on offer. The cheese section in particular caught my eye. Or was it my nose? Then I came to the whole body aisle, which was brimming on both sides with no end of vitamins and supplements. Amongst this dazzling range of wonders, including organic wheatgrass and green superfood, was something called, and I kid you not, wellness formula. Then right at the corner, on a prime shelf position, companies pay more to have their products within easy reach, was the product display and dispenser from the Boiron Company, who bill themselves as world leader in homeopathic medicines. Boiron has been in operation since 1932, and I guess you could cut people living in the 30s a little slack for believing in homeopathy. But in the 2020s, the display was eye-catching, and I'm sure many of my US listeners know exactly what I'm talking about, as the same display can be found in many outlets across the country, including pharmacies.
So I'm walking up to a pharmacy here in California, in the San Francisco Bay Area, the Greater Bay Area. It's a nice late winter's morning, and this particular pharmacy is in the chain of CVS, a huge chain of pharmacies across the United States, I would think. What I have found is a big sign here. It says at CVS, truth is an important ingredient. We require that all supplements are third-party tested to contain what they claim. The choices we make CVS different. Tested to be trusted.
And here is some of the range from the Boiron Company. Non-drowsy, no drug interactions homeopathic medicine. So much for their sign.
The small blue tubes of pills are displayed in a row and can be easily extracted for purchase. Not sure what medication you need? Each magazine of tubes, take one out and another one falls in its place, is found under a helpful description. For example, there are pills for sudden hot flash, sunstroke and headache, Glonoinum 30C, or even mild or low fever, Ferrum 30C, and stage fright, apprehension and fever, Gelsinium sempervirens 30C. Sounds so scientific. Under this dispenser were piles of small booklets with the word free. Naturally, I picked up one for research. So now I have in my possession what is more or less a sales catalogue booklet, 20 centimetres by 9 centimetres and 40-odd pages, not too big, with the words, Free, Easy Guide to Homeopathic Medicines. Now that got my attention right from the start, as I was surprised to see the use of the word medicines, and not something like remedies. Large pharmaceutical companies selling alternative medicine tend to use more weasel words like may assist, or has been used, or reports indicate. But then again, when they can get away with it, they will call it whatever they can. So I looked up the meaning of the word medicine in Webster's dictionary. Medicine, noun. Medicine. Pronunciation, medicine. British, usually medicine. Definition of medicine. 1. A substance or preparation used in treating disease. Example, cough medicine. B. Something that affects well-being. Example, he's bad medicine. Zane Grey. 2. A. The science and art of dealing with the maintenance of health and the prevention, alleviation, or cure of a disease. Example, she's interested in a career in medicine. B. The branch of medicine concerned with the non-surgical treatment of disease. 3. A substance, such as a drug or potion, used to treat something other than disease. 4. An object held in traditional American Indian belief to give control over natural or magical forces. Also, magical power or a magical right. Well, it looks like here at least the definition of the word medicine is somewhat more broad than I thought, having regarded it as more or less a result of a scientific process and something that at the end of the day actually works. I headed over to the Boiron website and discovered tools to easily find my nearest stockist, their product range, their online store, how you can download their app, and links to most popular social media outlets, Twitter, Facebook, and so on. I checked their Twitter account and it seems to be updated many times a day. Yes, it's a typical business website. On the page labeled Education and Training, I found an embedded YouTube video entitled Boiron Manufacturing Process. It's worth a look and a giggle. It's interesting that the video was shot in 4:3 size and not widescreen, which means in all likelihood the video is somewhat old. The video itself gives the impression that the whole process of manufacturing homeopathic pills is very scientific. Lots of people in lab coats, taking measurements, lots of very sophisticated-looking scientific apparatus, and so on. But it does show the basic idea of homeopathy. This process is sort of explained in the video.
Once the homeopathic mother tincture or the first liquid dilution is obtained, one can start the dilution process. To do this, 1 part of mother tincture is diluted in 99 parts of hydroalcoholic solution. The liquid is then vigorously shaken in a calibrated device. This process is called succussion. The result is called 1C. It is then repeated to prepare the recurring dilutions, 30 times for instance, to get a 30C. Pellets are the usual form of homeopathic medicines. Multi-dose tubes contain large granules and unit dose tubes contain small globules.
The video goes on to show that the finished solution, and we would have to imagine it contains none of the original plant or minerals, is sprayed onto sugar pills. Yes, it's as bizarre as it sounds. Many more videos can be found at the Boiron YouTube channel with clips going back 12 years, or at least that's when the first one was uploaded. Here we also find glowing recommendations for Boiron's homeopathic range from people with many letters after their name. One of these people is homeopath Joette Calabrese, HMC CCH RSHOMNA. So many letters. After a bit of hunting, I discovered HMC. This designation was awarded to Joette in 1998 after having studied 2 years in class with master homeopath Louis Klein of Canada. It stands for Homeopathic Master Clinician and is a postgraduate degree. HHC. This stands for Certified Classical Homeopath through the Council of Homeopathic Certification, CHC. It means Joette is a member of an accredited organization that is dedicated to maintaining high standards of homeopathy in North America. Requirements for admission are rigorous. They include proof of completed college, a postgraduate schooling in homeopathy, member recommendation, minimum 5 years clinical experience with notarized confirmation letters, professional references, written and oral exams, essays, written proof of cases, and peer review. RSHOMNA stands for Registered Member of the North American Society of Homeopaths. And we also have an extra one, NASH. Requirements are proof of completion of the above-mentioned education and adherence to the rules and ethics of practice. All this for practicing something based on magical thinking and doesn't even work. But that's her career and I dare say her life. She is a homeopath, so to her it must all make sense and works without a shadow of a doubt. But it seems for her and her ilk, the wolves might be howling at the door, for when I visited her website, I noticed a link right at the top of the page that takes you to another website with a flyer you can download and pass around. Save Homeopathy. The FDA is proposing rules for homeopathy that could regulate it out of existence. Please go to our website and submit a comment to the FDA and your representatives in DC. It only takes a minute. Share with your friends and family. Deadline, March 23, 2020. This might be worth keeping an eye on. But it's not only homeopaths making an appearance in the long list of videos. We have people who remind me of something James Randi once told me. No matter how crazy the idea, you'll always find a PhD who supports it. A case in point are the videos from Jim Morelli, a registered pharmacist from Massachusetts, and Ken Redcross, MD, from New York. Both men are happy to endorse Boiron homeopathic products. You'd think they'd know better. But getting back to the booklet, what I'll do now is I'll read, with the help of Heidi Robertson, from the Q&A section found in the front of the booklet and comment on the 13 topics they themselves offer to answer. Question 1. What are homeopathic medicines?
Homeopathic medicines have been used by generations of physicians for more than 200 years to address many acute illnesses. Millions of patients around the world rely on these medicines to help relieve symptoms of flu, allergies, coughs, colds, muscle pain, teething, and other common conditions. These medicines contain active ingredients derived from highly diluted plants, minerals, and animals. In the United States, homeopathic medicines are manufactured under strict accordance with the Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of the United States and good manufacturing practices. They are regulated as a homeopathic drug by the Food and Drug Administration. Some conditions require diagnosis and treatment by a healthcare professional. If symptoms persist or worsen, seek medical attention right away. Always read and follow label directions.
My comments. Did you notice some logical fallacies? We have the appeal to authority, used by generations of physicians, the appeal to antiquity or tradition, for more than 200 years, and the appeal to popularity, millions of patients. These medicines contain active ingredients. Do they? Really? Maybe that should read, these medicines once were in contact with something that is derived from something that once was in contact with part of a plant, or something like that. Question 2. Is there any scientific research on homeopathic medicines?
An increasing number of scientific studies on homeopathic medicines are being conducted and published in peer-reviewed journals. Clinical research is providing evidence of the efficacy of homeopathic medicines, and basic laboratory research is confirming the biological activity of highly diluted substances and helping the scientific community better understand their mechanism of action.
My comments. There may well be more and more scientific studies into homeopathy, but the results are not what the industry wants to hear. Where the outcomes are good, it's more likely they are the results of poorly conducted trials. All over the world, with the UK leading the way, homeopathy is coming under fire and is being taken out of mainstream healthcare. If the scientific studies did indeed support it, this would not be the case. Unless, like many in the alt-med industries, you believe in conspiracies. Question 3. What are the benefits of homeopathic medicines?
Boiron homeopathic medicines do not cause drowsiness or sleeplessness, and they have no known drug interactions. There is a low risk of side effects when taking homeopathic medicines. Therefore, these medicines are a great choice for self-treatable conditions. They work best when taken at the first sign of symptoms, which is the best time to help your body ward off illnesses. Some disorders require diagnosis and treatment by a doctor. Always read and follow label directions. If symptoms persist or worsen, seek medical attention promptly.
My comments. There's a saying, no side effects means no effects. All drugs have side effects, even if those effects are minimal and benign. For something posing as medicine, something you ingest, to claim it has no side effects or no known interaction with any other drug means that it probably has no effects on the body at all, let alone medical effects. Question 4. How are homeopathic medicines presented?
Homeopathic medicines are presented with very clear and specific indications and directions for use. They are available either as blue tube single medicines, only one active ingredient, or as a company-specific brand of medicine, most with multiple active ingredients. The branded medicines are available in a variety of dosage forms such as tablets, gels, ointments, creams, syrups, eye drops, and suppositories. These branded products make selecting a medicine easier so that those who are not yet familiar with homeopathy can discover the benefits.
My comments. That's nice. If they are all homeopathic, it really wouldn't matter how they are presented or what the label says they do. However, for sales, I can see the benefit of having a wide range. Question 5. When should I choose a blue tube single medicine?
In some instances, your symptoms are so specific that it is easy to select one single medicine. Packaged in Boiron's patented multi-dose blue tubes, the 83 most commonly used blue tube single medicines are available in natural product stores. Boiron carries hundreds of single medicines in several dilutions, which can be special ordered through these stores. Many self-medication books are available to help you in your single medicine selection, including Homeopathic Solutions Made Easy. You can also use the Boiron Homeopathic Medicine Finder, available at boironusa.com or as a free app.
My comments. I refer you to my last comment. If the products are homeopathic, that is, having no active ingredients, it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. Question 6. What is a homeopathic dilution?
A homeopathic medicine is obtained from a precise and controlled process of successive homeopathic dilutions. With each homeopathic dilution, the medicine is deconcentrated and then vigorously shaken, also called succussion. This process transforms the original solution into a therapeutically active medicine.
My comments. Maybe it does. In another universe, much like our own, but with different laws of physics. But this principle or ritual is a keystone of homeopathy. Less is more? Question 7. Which homeopathic dilution should I choose?
The level of dilution does not correspond to the strength of the homeopathic medicine. A 30C is not stronger than a 6C. The difference is in the level of action. While a 6C is suitable for local symptoms, a 30C or higher is more appropriate for general and behavioural symptoms such as a fever, rash, apprehension, or sleeplessness.
My comments. Wait, what? So they are saying that something that has no active substance is not as strong as something else that has no active substance, but nevertheless has a different action? Action? Even Alice didn't go that far down the rabbit hole. Question 8. How should I read a homeopathic medicine label such as Arnica montana 30C?
Arnica montana is the Latin name of the source material, a plant from the daisy family. Homeopathic medicines use Latin names, the international scientific denomination for source materials. The 30 indicates that the source material has been homeopathically diluted 30 times. The C stands for centesimal and indicates that each of the 30 dilutions was made at the rate of 1 in 100.
My comments. The tradition is for homeopathy to use Latin names. I guess it makes it sound more formal, more scientific. Reminds me of a priest using Latin to exorcise a demon. Gives more gravitas. Question 9. The indication on the label of the multi-dose does not match the symptom for which my doctor prescribed it. Why?
The same blue tube single medicine may be useful for several different conditions. For example, Ledum palustra 30C can be indicated for insect bites or bruising. Mesarium 30C can be indicated for sinus pain or oozing, crusty skin rash. Due to the small size of the container, we print the most common indication for each medicine on the label. Therefore, the condition for which your doctor prescribed the medicine may not be listed on the label.
My comment? Doctor? Doctor? What doctor would prescribe homeopathy? Sadly, there are some real GPs who do. But another point to remember is that in the United States especially, more and more alternative medicine practitioners are referring to themselves as doctor. Also, again, I make the point that how can something with no active ingredients be any different from something else that has no active ingredients? Question 10. How do I take a homeopathic medicine?
For your convenience, Boiron homeopathic medicines are available in a variety of forms: syrups, liquid unit doses, suppositories, creams, gels, eye drops, tablets, and pellets to best address your symptoms. Label directions vary by medicine. Always read and follow label directions. When taking one of our signature blue tube single medicines, pellets should be placed under the tongue to ensure rapid absorption into the bloodstream. No water, chewing, or swallowing is required. In general, it is best to address symptoms as early as possible.
My comment. Sorry to keep harping back to this point, but how would it make any difference how you ingested something that has no active ingredients? You can rub it on your feet for all the good it does. Question 11. How frequently can I take or should I take a homeopathic medicine?
Follow the instructions provided by your healthcare professional or on the product label. When it comes to a blue tube single medicine, general dosage instructions are 5 pellets 3 times a day. As a general rule for self-medicating, increase the frequency when the symptoms are sudden and acute. Decrease the frequency with improvement. For example, upon twisting your ankle, dissolve 5 pellets of Arnica montana under your tongue every 10 minutes, 3 to 4 times. Then dissolve 5 pellets under your tongue 3 times a day, or as needed.
My comments. Okay, call me a broken record, but, well, But it's odd, or maybe I have it wrong, that in homeopathic law, something that is more diluted is more powerful than something that is less diluted. But you should take more pills when the symptoms are worse, which means you are ingesting a weaker dose as the less... Oh, sorry, this homeopathic rabbit hole is getting far too deep. Or is it shallow? Question 12. How do I know I have selected the right homeopathic medicine?
Improvement may occur more quickly when treatment is started at the onset of symptoms, particularly in acute conditions. Individual product labels will provide you with more specific information and directions for use. If symptoms persist or worsen, ask a doctor. Chronic conditions will require the attention of a healthcare professional, knowledgeable in homeopathy, and may require more time for improvement.
My comments. Well, it's like asking how do I know if I've eaten the right coloured jelly bean, I guess, if you just take the colours away and have the original sugar substance. But if we were to think about what a normal situation would be if you went to a physician, he or she would advise you on which medication is the appropriate one to take. But when all the medication is essentially the same thing, maybe I should start to live down that rabbit hole. Question 13. Can homeopathic medicines be taken in conjunction with other medicines?
Homeopathic medicines, 4C and above, have a low risk of side effects and no known drug interactions. They can be taken with other conventional medications.
My comment. Of course they can be taken with other drugs because they're not a drug. There are no interactions or side effects because there is nothing there to initiate such an effect. And of course I say that with a disclaimer myself. I am not recommending you take homeopathic medicine at all to begin with. But in some cases, some homeopaths may well make up a mixture or a concoction that has some active ingredient. So, of course, the disclaimer is be wary, be careful. But the principle is if it's a true homeopathic product, then it can't have an interaction with real drugs. Question 14. Can I give homeopathic medicines to my children?
Boron medicines can be given to a child. However, label directions may differ based on age. Always read and follow label directions. If your child is younger than the age for use specified on the product label, or they experience chronic symptoms, please check with your child's healthcare professional.
My comments. Apart from the obvious, yes, we've covered this so many times, there is no active ingredient, blah, 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 blah. I note the use of the term healthcare professional, since a healthcare professional can mean a homeopath, naturopath, chiropractor. It really is an almost meaningless term. In Australia, when I was growing up, and a drug was advertised on the television or radio, the disclaimer at the end would always say something like, "If symptoms persist, see your doctor." But for many years now, this has been replaced with, "If symptoms persist, see your health care professional." Personally, I'd like it to say, "If symptoms persist, see your GP or pharmacist." Alas, these days, with so many pharmacists selling quackery, maybe that's not such a good idea. The rest of this little booklet is really a catalogue of the products on offer from the Boiron Company. There's even a page here dealing with what products to get for first aid. Also allergies, eye irritation, teething, flu-like symptoms, sore throat, colds, sinus, cold and flu, cough and chest congestion, gas, indigestion, pain, hemorrhoids, sleeplessness, stress, hot flushes, menstrual cramps, PMS, yeast infection, women's health, and so on. So if you're in the United States or Canada, I would imagine next time you're in a supermarket or pharmacy, it might be worth checking out the Boiron display to see some of these medications for yourself, and you too can pick up their handy free booklet and marvel at the product range. And don't forget that the Centre for Skeptical Inquiry is currently undertaking a lawsuit against CVS pharmacies for stocking and selling homeopathic products.
Hello, this is Rob Palmer. You may have heard of me. Lately, I've been interviewing scientists, skeptics, and other critical thinkers from around the world for my column in the Skeptical Inquirer, and recently, some for the Skeptic Zone. My written interviews have included Jay Novella from The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, mass psychogenic illness expert Robert Bartholomew, Celestial Ward from Squaring the Strange, psychic-busting Private Eye Bob Nygaard, skeptical activist Michael Marshall of the UK, and even secular activists Bailey Harris and John Delancey, that's Q from Star Trek. I even interviewed, believe it or not, a magic dragon, and another really well-known skeptic, Richard Saunders. You can find my online column with these interviews and more by Googling The Well-Known Skeptic plus Skeptical Inquirer. Also, follow me on Facebook at The Well-Known Skeptic. Cheers!
In the last couple of days, a newsletter from the Good Thinking Society in the UK has arrived in my inbox, and this really follows on from our previous story about homeopathy in the United States. The newsletter is entitled Our Judicial Review over accreditation of Society of Homeopaths to be heard March 18th and 19th. The newsletter goes on to say, supporters of ours will remember that Good Thinking challenged the Professional Standards Authority, PSA, the government body that oversees healthcare regulators, over their failure to protect vulnerable autistic children from anti-vaccine proponents and potentially harmful cures. The PSA accredited the Society of Homeopaths, despite registrants of the Society of Homeopaths offering CEASE, that's CEASE therapy, an anti-vaccine cure for autism. That challenge has now been scheduled to be heard by the High Court on March the 18th and 19th, where we will have the opportunity to make our full case before a judge and to explain why we feel the PSA acted unlawfully in their decision to lend credibility to the Society of Homeopaths and their members, some of whom offer CEASE therapy. If our challenge is successful, it could see the accreditation decision quashed, annulled by the court, meaning that the PSA could be ordered to make a new decision, this time properly taking into account the harms associated with CEASE therapy when considering whether to re-accredit the Society of Homeopaths. We hope our case will result in the Society of Homeopaths being required by the PSA to take action to protect autistic children from the harmful therapies these homeopaths promote, or lose their accredited status. When we took on the case, we asked for your support to help us fundraise to meet the legal costs involved in bringing our judicial review to court. You helped us raise over £10,000, for which we are extremely grateful. And I'm grateful for that very interesting update from Good Thinking in the UK, and I will link to Good Thinking in this week's show notes so you too can keep up to date with their activities. And we'll keep an eye on this legal challenge to the accreditation of the Society of Homeopaths, which will be heard next month.
Sweet cappuccino, soy latte.
Hey Richard.
Oh, hi Trish, hi. Would you like a coffee?
Yeah, thanks. What are you working on?
I'm trying to come up with a new promo to play on the Skeptic Zone.
Who's it for?
The Good Thinking Society in the UK, you know, the...
Oh yeah, I know them. The guys who recently chased the homeopaths out of the UK public health system.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they campaigned and lobbied government for a while, and now you cannot get homeopathy on the NHS. So they can now spend public money on healthcare that works.
Oh, right. Look, I'll mention that in the promo. Now, their website is goodthinkingsociety.org.
And that website is a good resource for learning more about quackery.
Ah, thanks, Trish. That gives me something good to think about.
Here's Maynard's spooky action at a distance.
Hi folks, Maynard here. Just woke up and wondering how do I place in Glebe to head to the amazing Skeptics in the Pub where it'll all be happening as Gary Kennedy is there. Now, he was originally a meat handler and now he's a food inspector, inspecting all sorts of things from all over the world. So we're having a chat to him fairly shortly about that. But I'm just sort of wandering around the whole thing and hoping I can get there in time before he finishes talking. Okay, well, we're going up to the top level now where it'll be all skeptics in the pub all evening, all having on. And of course, Trish will be around, and of course she's very excited about the whole Goop Lab thing happening because she's a huge fan of Gwyneth Paltrow. And we're here at the Skeptic Zone. Gary Kennedy's just sitting quietly in the corner. How are you, Gary?
I'm well, Maynard. Yourself?
Pretty good. Now, you're a meat handler, but now you're a... now, of course, you're a food inspector.
I'm legally a sausage judge, Maynard. and a meat inspector.
Okay, well, I'll show you some photos later. But tell me, have you been to China lately?
Not recently, but I have colleagues who work over there, so I'm keeping up to date with all of the coronavirus updates.
Yes. Now, is it a food issue at all? Can people cough and get this in the food and send it here?
Not to my knowledge. It's similar in that sense to the common cold or influenza. It can't be carried by food, but it can certainly potentially be carried in the very, very short term by food handlers. So, wait staff or cooks, but you have to catch it fairly quickly. Apparently, like a lot of these viruses, it dies fairly quickly at ambient temperatures. And ambient conditions, it desiccates, it dries out, so you really have to be exposed to it quite quickly afterwards. So unless a waiter coughs on you or someone does that, you're unlikely to catch it in a food service situation. And certainly it's not going to occur in manufactured food you buy at the supermarket.
Now, we're on the record here, and you're not wearing your Canadian Mounties outfit.
No, I'm not. I'm dressed down for the night.
Look, if people want to see Gary in a Canadian Mounties outfit, it's on my YouTube channel. What was that? What was that day?
That was Leather Pride Fair Day.
And you were the judge, and the bears had to hug you, and you actually had to judge. And I remember when one hugged you, he lifted you over his shoulders.
Yes, he did, in the Mounties outfit. You will actually catch up. I'm actually with the scientists. I'm putting in the Mardi Gras float this year for the Turing Circle, the gay and lesbian engineers and scientists.
Oh, wow. And I recommend people have a listen, go to the BBC website and have a listen to the Pet Shop Boys Turing Suite. They did all about his life and about what happened to him, and it was beautifully, it's great.
Yeah. Yes. So the Jeep will be in the parade, and the Turing Circle's carbon atom will be on top. Carbon, 6 electrons, so the fluoro colours of the rainbow flag with the mirror ball nucleus.
Fair enough too. And what are you going to talk to people about tonight? Food myths. The first thing, my dad seems to think that food in a buffet situation will kill him.
No.
Okay.
No, the most common place to get
food...
But
he's 91.
The most common place to get food poisoning is eat at home, especially if you're 91.
Oh, okay. And why is that? Because you're a bit less into it?
No, it tends to be your sight and smell and taste goes, so you can't really tell that the food's not cooked properly.
Oh, okay. And have you got an opinion about Gwyneth Paltrow and her goop?
Oh, I definitely do. A load of crap. Excuse the French.
You have fun here tonight. We'll chat to you later. Bye, Gary.
I will, Maynard. Thank you.
So, Lara, did you learn anything about our food supply tonight?
Just verified a lot of things that I already thought was true, which is quite satisfying when that happens, Stuff that I've been trying to teach to my kids at school.
All right. So what do you normally mention to them in a broad way?
Well, lots of those things come up in lots of different lessons. So if we're talking about the electromagnetic spectrum, we might be talking about food irradiation. Genetically modified foods comes up in the Year 10 course. And, they're young. They're getting the information from, I suppose, the internet and their parents. So they have a lot of things that they think is true. And then I just come in and let them know what the actual science is behind it.
Cool. That must make you a bit smiley from time to time.
Smiley?
Smiley. Happy. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And Trish, how are you with the whole... what did you learn about our food tonight?
Oh, I thought that was absolutely fascinating. Wasn't that brilliant? I learned so much, but also it reinforced the knowledge that I already had, which is always really nice. It's nice, and it closes the door.
What is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? I've eaten the Japanese blowfish thing, and my face went numb.
Yeah. So I ate an African fat-bottomed ant.
Right. How big is that?
Well, it was bigger than I thought it was going to be. When my students said that they were going to dare me to eat an ant, I was envisaging a little British-style ant. But it turns out African fat-bottomed ants are much larger, a good centimetre across.
Well, fat-bottom ants, they make the rock and mill go round.
They do. But I would not recommend it.
And what about you, Trish? What's the weirdest thing you've eaten?
Well,
by the way, people, I love the way she grabs the mic off.
I grabbed the mic off you.
Normally I would not allow that, but she uses it well.
So, at a skeptical conference at QED a few years back, they gave out shot glasses full of mealworms, which was awesome, during a talk about future foods, which was fantastic. They were dead. They were crispy. They were very nice, actually. They tasted slightly nutty. But I went to a restaurant in London. If anyone, I don't know if it even still exists, but there was a restaurant in London called Archipelago, and it had all sorts of food. So we ate bees, which bees, interesting. We had alligator, we had python, we had cricket salad, which was really nice, actually, I thought, really nice. And yeah, it was amazing. It was good to see.
Okay, well, what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten, sir?
I've been pretty conservative, so I think a kangaroo steak is probably the weirdest thing. Yeah.
Fair enough. And what about you?
I think I've eaten kangaroo, crocodile, emu, bear, reindeer, chicken heart, that was fun, dried fish jerky, and chocolate that was crunchy because it had bugs in it, intentionally. Also, I had an iced chocolate with a cockroach in it on Christmas Day. No, New Year's Day. Yeah.
Intentionally?
No, that was unintentional.
And what about you? What's the weirdest thing you've eaten, you think?
Scorpion.
Oh, right. What was that? Crunchy, was it?
It was bloody awful, but it's supposed to be a delicacy over in Thailand. I had it in Thailand, and the street vendor that sold it to me gave it to me nice and crunchy, very pleased with himself, but he forgot to remove the stinger, which had a particularly potent, itchy, stingy poison in it.
So was it deep fried? What was it?
It was deep fried, yes, lightly crumbed as well.
Wow. And what about you? What's the weirdest thing you think you've eaten?
Probably congealed pork blood with herbs.
Where was that?
That was in Vietnam.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a bit of a language issue there.
Okay, so you actually asked for fried chicken and got that? Is that
No, I just said yes when my relatives asked me if I wanted to try this dish, and I thought it was a soup.
Okay, well, you're still here. You look fine. Oh, we've got someone down the end of
Changed my mind.
Oh, he's changing his mind, yes? Well, yes, something even weirder.
So kangaroo is less common of an animal, but chicken is more common of an animal. But less commonly consumed are chicken feet. I've had chicken feet a few times. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's kind of weird. And at the end of the table here, what's the weirdest thing you've eaten, sir?
Probably whale. I think it was whale jerky.
And was that in Japan?
Yes, it was at one of those restaurants where they serve a tiny bit of everything. And the host, we ate the next item. It was like a tiny strip of it about this big. And what do you think that was? And they said it was whale.
Wow. So do you suspect there might have been dolphin even on the menu there?
It didn't come up.
Okay, wow. Okay. And what did it taste like? Was it very fatty, I imagine?
I don't remember. I actually, for some reason, I recall it being a jerky rather than in a fatty form, but I could be misremembering. This would have been 2006 or so, 2007.
Okay, well, you're still standing. You're doing well.
I've also eaten whale twice and puffin, but that wasn't in Japan. That was in Norway and Iceland.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Norway, top place.
Yeah.
Should you?
Look, Gary's just holding court here. Now, what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten, sir?
I've always been pretty conservative with my eating, but when I was a Boy Scout once, I was actually given a live pigeon and had to create a meal out of it and eat it, and I did.
Well, how'd you go?
I killed it using the approved method, and I cooked it in a fire and ate it.
That is pretty wild. That's the best one so far. What's the weirdest thing you've eaten?
The most repulsive thing I've ever eaten is carrot-coated dried pineapple.
Oh.
It's one of the few things I spat out almost immediately.
Wow.
This is quite revolting. But I want to mention something else, actually. I was introduced to a Southeast Asian fruit called durian. Durian.
What is that?
Durian. And as anyone's been to Southeast Asia is aware of this. It's illegal to put on planes because it stinks so badly.
Wow.
It smells like rotten meat. It's very repulsive in smell. Wow. I tried it. I thought, I don't really like it. But some years later, 3-4 years later, I smelt it and I thought it smelt wonderful.
Wow.
Something had changed in my taste and smell perception, and I think it's a wonderful, flavoursome, fruity fruit now. I completely changed.
So give it a go. Thank you. That's a good spout. And what about you? You've got the loud shirt on there.
Okay, well, I ate sea cucumbers once, but it was in Russia, and all I could do was point to the menu. And I don't quite know whether they were vegetable or animal, to be honest.
Okay.
Very bland.
Well, so that's a wrap for Skeptics in the Pub. The next one will be on the 5th of March, where it'll all be happening. And do we know who the special guest for the 5th of March is? No? Lady Gaga? Go to the website. Where's the website that we go to find out who's on next month?
You can go to meetup.com and then search for Sydney Skeptics in the pub.
And just imagine all the stuff that Richard had to cut out that you haven't heard. So come along. It'll be great.
This is NASA. I see a flat Earth, but we should lie to everybody about it and say it's round. 10-4.
Maximum Fun brings you the latest podcast, an expose on the flat Earth.
I want to take advantage of humankind and make them believe a lie so that they will trust us with the government.
It's all an elaborate lie, and when you get on a plane, they purposefully fly you farther than you need to go.
It's disgusting. It needs to be stopped. And if you listen to Ono, Ross, and Carrie, we will tell you the truth behind the lies.
Just kidding.
No, we won't do that. We will just tell you the truth behind the truth, because what we do is we look at extraordinary claims.
That's right. We've gone undercover with alternative medical treatments, fringe religious groups, fringe science claims, the spiritual, paranormal. We're there to check it out and let you know what happens.
Is the Queen Mary haunted? I don't know. Find out.
We show up, we make friends, we learn what happens when you ask questions, and we tell you all about it.
And we get all that funky stuff done to us.
It's Ono, Ross, and Carrie
at MaximumFun.org.
Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone, and that sound you are listening to at the moment is rain. Rain. Lots of rain. Rain all night, rain all day, and all night and all day. Now, this is quite a dramatic change from all the fires that Sydney, Australia, and quite a lot of the rest of Australia has been suffering lately. Now it's just the opposite. It's just amazing. Coming up on next week's show, more from Skepticon 2019 with Maynard doing interviews on the spot. And next week, or maybe the week after, but very soon, we're going to be starting a new regular segment on logical fallacies. Watch out for that. Now, I can't neglect the Skeptic Zone cats. I better come back inside. Now, you two want some breakfast, don't you? Did you miss me? A big thank you to those people who continue to support the Skeptic Zone with Patreon or PayPal. Your contribution means the show keeps on the air, in your ears, out there on the internet. And if you would like to support the Skeptic Zone, head for www.skepticzone.tv and follow the Patreon PayPal link. But for this week, all right, you two, come on. Let's get your dinner. This is Richard Saunders signing off from Sydney, Australia. You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast. Please visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for show notes, contacts, and to access the back catalogue of episodes going back to 2008. You can follow the Skeptic Zone podcast on Twitter at Skeptic Zone, visit our Facebook page, or leave a review on iTunes. You can also support the Skeptic Zone via Patreon or PayPal. The Skeptic Zone podcast is an independent production. The views and opinions expressed on the Skeptic Zone are not necessarily those of Australian Skeptics or any other skeptical organisation.
Still be there.
Look, and here's something Richard won't put in.
Are you sure he wasn't just pouring vodka?
Well, yeah, that kind of thing. But Richard won't put that too. Look, I'm just going to get over to Gary in a moment.
Oh, Richard's got nothing